Upfront and Outspoken with Bob Williams. If you love the Constitution,
man is not free unless government is limited.
If you love freedom,
as government expands, liberty contracts.
If you believe in personal responsibility, if you believe America is still the greatest nation on earth, then get ready for an experience you'll never forget. This is Upfront and Outspoken. Here's your host, Bob Williams.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
And welcome back. This, of course, is Upfront Outspoken. I'm your host, Bob Williams, with you here on this Monday. On the phone with me, of course, like I warned everybody, Savannah, look out because I'm coming your direction. On the phone with me is mayoral candidate Murray Silver. Welcome to the program, Murray.
Thank you, Bob. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
You know, my first question I always ask is going to be a light one, and then we're going to get into the politics of things. Your platform for running for mayor is what?
Basically, I have two main points to the platform. The first is public safety. The second is a merger between city and county.
All right. Now, I've been looking at the stats. From the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and it seems that, to give you an idea, they of course they only bring it up to 2013. It seems that during the term of Mayor Jackson, all of your crime rate has gone up. Now, my question for you is, if you are in office, if you are elected into office, what's the first thing you're going to do to turn this down?
Well, a week ago, our police chief was sentenced to prison in federal court for bribery. And in the process, the Savannah Police Department has completely come undone. And we have lost 200 officers in the past year. Many of the officers who have left cited poor supervision as one of their reasons for leaving. The supervisors turned around and sued the city for a hostile workplace. And the FBI continues to investigate the department. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to overhaul the police department in a way that the current administration will not. And by that I mean, at present, our police department comes under the supervision of the city manager. We have a city manager form of government here where we have a strong city manager and a weak mayor. The city manager is the most powerful person in the city, and one of the city manager's jobs is to oversee the police department. I believe that our current city manager, Stephanie Cutter, is out of her depth. Consequently, I believe that a lot of the things that were happening she should have known about. However, it wasn't until the chief quit under a haze of a scandal that she then went out and hired an outside independent firm to come to Savannah and conduct a year-long investigation to tell her what she should have already known, and in some cases I think did know, but however just ignored. And so I think the first thing we do to fix this, Bob, is that we impanel a police commission to oversee the department, to root out corruption, and to help our new chief, who is not from Savannah. We help him with rebuilding the new department. So I think that's the first thing that I do, is that I come into office with a new police commission to oversee the department.
You know, the one thing I've noticed, too, is I spoke with several people from the Savannah area, and they all have one thing in common. They have a complete lack of trust in not only the mayor, but the existing council of Savannah. And their questions have always been, is how are you going to be able to rebuild that confidence and, you know, basically, you know, put Savannah in the light it used to be maybe 20 years ago?
Well, that's a tall order for one person, and that is why I've been trying to find a ticket, I'm trying to find other people to run for every single open office. The tough thing is that this is an off-year election. The local ballot is the only thing that we will be voting on in this November. You can typically expect 30% or less turnout. What we have in Savannah right now it's the perfect storm for failure. That money continues to move away from the city. Now, this is money that's both black and white, brown, and money doesn't care what color the skin of the hand is that holds it. Money always acts like money, and money moves wherever it can afford. And money has been beating a path out of Savannah for the past couple of years in search of a safer environment and lower taxes. And so consequently, a lot of Savannians have moved outside of the city of Savannah to neighboring areas like Richmond Hill or Pooler or Rincon or to Deepwater. And they've left the city. They've taken their jobs, they've taken their businesses, they've taken their tax dollars with them, and the city...
Let me ask you this, though, Murray.
We've got the average Savannah right now. The city is 65% African American.
But let me ask you this, though, Murray.
Live at or below the poverty level. So that's who's left behind.
All right, but
the first thing we've got to do, Bob, is we've got to stop this mad dash for the exits. We've got to keep Savannians in Savannah.
Right, but the question to that, though, Murray, is this: if I'm a business owner, I'm not going to come into a high crime area. In order to attract these businesses back, you're going to have to reduce the crime rate to make them feel more secure. Now, you yourself said that about 200 officers are no longer employed by the Savannah Police Department. Right. The question people is going to be asking is, number one, can I trust my police department given the fact that there appears to be corruption going on there? And number two, how would you as mayor once again reinforce the fact that, hey, we finally have a police department we can bring into focus? And number three, as mayor, what would be the thing that you would want to do to attract these businesses back to Savannah?
Well, I think you have to win a city back the same way that you lost it. You have to win the city back one street at a time, one block at a time, one neighborhood at a time. And you rebuild a city the very same way you lost it. And by that I mean, rather than rely on simply fixing the police department, you've got to then eradicate crime, and you got to go to the root causes of it. The problem we have in Savannah is we never get around to addressing the root causes of crime in the first place. So one of the things that I would like to do is, and it's not a new idea with me, Bob, it's a model that's been effectively used in other cities, where you find the very worst areas where the crime lives. You move into those areas, and you begin by buying up the houses that sit there, dilapidated, they're vacant. This is where the blight is. You move in these areas, you buy up these houses. It is a cooperative effort between private and public money. You buy up these houses, you fix up these houses, and then you rent them at a discount to police officers, to soldiers, to firemen. You put solid citizens into these houses, and then you simply march down the street. You ask the neighbors, where's the problem? Where does trouble live? You go knock on trouble's door. And you ask trouble, what is the problem here? And if you can fix it, you fix it. And if not, you explain to trouble, look, we know what you're doing. You're not going to be able to do it here anymore, so you have two choices. You can either give the plan or you can get gone, because you cannot stay here and do what you're doing. Now, if you have to put a cop on the corner 24/7, that's what you do, because right now having a prowler car drive through the neighborhood every so often does not work. You've got to have continuity, you've got to have consistency to turn things around.
Yeah, but by what you're proposing, aren't you basically in essence telling the crooks, all right, you're not wanted in this neighborhood, but they're going to move somewhere else? I mean, you know...
as I said, Bob, it's got to be a plan where you're doing this block by block, street by street, and and it has to be a consistent, conscientious effort to do this. You're not going to do this overnight. If it could be done overnight, it would be done overnight.
Right.
And we did not lose the city overnight. It's taken 50 years for Savannah to get to the place where it is.
Yeah, but it seems that during
overnight, but only by instigating these plans and sticking to them are you going to be able to win this battle in the long run. That's what we're talking about.
The thing is I look at the statistics, you know, what is going on in Savannah prior to Jackson's inauguration, and you guys had a sustainable, crime rate that was fairly low.
Yeah.
But it seems that since, and I'm gonna be very point blank here. Number one, we did invite Mayor Jackson to come on to the show, right. But there was a couple of prerequisites that she had that I refused to do. Number one, she wanted me to submit a complete listing of all the questions I was going to ask, so they could review them, delete whatever questions that she didn't want to hear. Well, it don't work that way on my show. You come on my show, you're going to ask my questions. But the question is that, prior to her first inauguration, you did not have that bad of a crime rate. But ever since she's been in office, that crime rate has gone up and up and up. And like I said, in 2013, okay, to give you an example, okay, here we go. The number of rapes went up to 57. This is in 2013. The number of robberies went up to 478. Assaults, 517. Burglaries, almost 3,000. Larcenies, almost 7,000. Vehicle thefts, 810. And this is a progression since Jackson. Now, my question is, from your constituents, the people you want to serve, what is their chief complaint?
Well, universally, wherever I go in this town, and no matter who I'm talking to, I don't care if they're black or white or rich or poor, the problem begins with the police department. It begins with crime. Even the black community is sick and tired of it. And so the very first thing that people mention to me, and then typically there isn't a second thing, it is the problem that we have with the police department and the fact that it's completely come undone under the current administration's watch. But it is a problem that has many facets to it. There's not just one problem with the police department, there are many. And as I said, the FBI is still investigating it. Now, look, my house has been burglarized twice in the past couple of years. I don't have to ask my neighbors if they feel safe, because I don't. And so all of us we have our own horror stories.
Right.
And in Savannah, it's gotten to the point where, as I said to you, many more people have decided they'd just rather move away than stand and fight. If they can afford to move away, they do so. They're not going to stand here and fight. So now, as I say, the population has now shifted. It's now 65% African American. The county population is about 50-50. And one of the problems that we have, Bob, is that our police department merged with the county a few years ago. It merged with the county, and that merger has also fallen apart in the past year. And today, right now, it is the hottest issue in Savannah that the city council is unable to come to terms with the county commission on how to keep the merger together. They're talking about breaking up the department again. Now,
wouldn't that be a better solution? I mean, have the two separate
across the board of all services for the city and for the county. Otherwise, the city of Savannah stands a very good chance of going broke in the immediate future.
So, in other words, the tax base for Savannah has collapsed. We're looking at another Detroit.
That's it. And I will remind you, Bob, that right now, Savannah's crime rate is worse than Detroit's was right before Detroit went bankrupt. Ours is worse now.
Right, and I've looked at that, and Savannah's crime rate is indeed the highest in Georgia. Now, you would think...
I have to tell you something, Bob, which will really scare the hell out of you, is that this police chief, Willie Levitt, that was just sentenced to prison, For the last couple of years of his administration, he was cooking the books on the crime stats, so that the crime, as bad as it was being underreported. Then they decided what they'd do is they would change the criteria, and they raised the bar on what it meant to commit these crimes, meaning that the level of the crime had to reach a new high to qualify under each of the categories. And a lot of crimes were not being reported at all. In fact, I can prove the point by my house. When my house was burglarized the first time, the police officer gave me a case number. That case number cannot be found on file anywhere. And so consequently, for the last several years, the crime statistics, as bad as they were in Savannah, weren't accurate.
So we're looking at an overall corruption here. We're not just looking at the police department. We're looking at it all the way up the chain of command.
That's true.
Okay, that's what I want to know. So number one, you're elected mayor.
Yep.
Then you have to deal with getting rid of the corrupt and the corruption. You know, that is going to be an overwhelming task given how embedded it is right now.
Well, Bob, let me tell you how bad it is. And I only deal in facts here. I don't deal in supposition or rumor. A couple of months ago, the senior agent for the FBI, his name is Cowell, Agent Cowell made a speech before the Downtown Business Association in Savannah, in which he said, and I quote, he said, "Savannah is not only one of the most violent cities of its size in America, it is one of the most corrupt." And as right now, the FBI has got several investigations going on in this city, and they've been handing out subpoenas like Christmas cards at the end of the year. So the problem is, it's one of the worst problems of corruption in the United States, in that, first of all, I'll remind you, Georgia is one of the most corrupt states in the country, and Savannah is its most corrupt city. So that's how bad it is.
All right, so now we're getting to that overall Georgia is corrupt. Okay.
Yes.
But the thing is all right, if the corruption is so rampant in Savannah, and let's stay with Savannah, okay? If the corruption is so embedded in Savannah, don't you think that the current Mayor Jackson, would be aware of this, or if nothing else, it seems like she is indeed part of this corruption?
Well, here's the problem, Bob. It's as the FBI said. You could go into office, brand new mayor, brand new city council, and come the first Monday morning you're in office, you got to get right back in bed with the people who truly corrupt this town, and that is the money, that's the power, that's the businessmen who truly run the town. And those people you don't vote in and out of office. And so people say to me, people in the just say to me, "Murray, you can't get elected on the numbers," because they don't understand how I'm going to get the black vote. They say, "You can't get elected, and if you do, you can't fix it. So why the hell are you even trying?" So that's how bleak the picture is here. You do know, Bob, I am the only candidate that has announced that they're running for mayor in Savannah, Georgia right now, and we're 9 months out. I am the only person who is stupid enough to run or crazy enough to run for office.
So what made you decide?
Thinks that this can't be fixed.
All right, so given you yourself said you've got an uphill battle to fight. So what possessed you, knowing the politics of Savannah? What possessed you to say, "Okay, I'm throwing my hat in the ring"?
Okay, give me a minute. 7 generations of my family have lived in Savannah, Georgia. 7. There's nothing in this world that I love more than Savannah, Georgia. I am now 61 years old. I have come to the realization that my life is not my own. This life that we live, we're on loan from God, and all of us come into this world with a mission, be it great or small. And at some point we realize that there's nothing left for us to do but to tell the story, to share what we have and what we know, and help other people find fulfillment. I reached that point a couple of years ago, Bob. I have written a book that was made into a movie. I've had my fun. I've made some money. My house is paid for. I have done everything that I've come into this world to do for me and mine. And I then made up my mind that I would spend the rest of the time that I have left in service. And because I am running out of time, I have to seek the highest level that I can operate at. And that is why I have put the bullseye around mayor. Because I want one term, 4 years. I want to get it, fix it, and go. I am not a professional politician. I've never run for office before. I didn't set out in this life to be a politician. I don't particularly care for them as people. Because it seems to me that the longer they're in office, the more they do to serve themselves and the less they do to serve the public. And so all I want is one term to press the reset button and to give the city the kind of help that it won't get from a professional politician like Edna Jackson, who's been in city council for 16 years.
Well, like I said,
Savannah needs a break from professional politicians, and that's why I am trying to find other people like me who will go downtown with me and will clean it up in one term.
Well, I wish you the best. Now, Murray, I want to bring you back on here in a few weeks, to give more time, because we're almost out of time here, unfortunately. You willing to come back on in about 2 weeks?
Yes, if I'm not dead.
No, you won't be. If you are, that just shows the corruption of the area. That's all. Murray, thank you for taking some time out.
That I should be very careful about what I'm doing, because I'm becoming a problem for a lot of people now.
That's sometimes, though, Murray. That's what it takes. You need to be a thorn in the side of people, or a royal pain in their ass. Murray, thank you once again for coming on. I'm going to bring you back in 2 weeks, and we're gonna stretch it to an hour interview next time. How's that with you?
Well, Bob, thank you for caring about Savannah. Thank you for caring about what I have to say. I would love to appear on your show again.
Well, when it comes to Savannah, when it comes to other cities, guess what? I am going to get involved. If I know the corruption is there, I know the stink is there, the smell is there, look out, because a pit bull will be turned loose. Murray, once again, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Bob.
And with that, it is time for me to get out of here. Stay tuned, because coming up next is Ed Till. He'll be with you all the way to 4 o'clock. Until tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., this is Bob Williams. Take care of yourselves. And Savannah, watch your back.